Okay, everyone, welcome to our workshop. How can we support children and adolescents who have experienced bullying? My name is Åsa Gustafsson. I work at Friends as an advisor, and every week we get contacted with children and adolescents, parents who have many experience of different kinds of forms of bullying. The aim for the workshop here, we thought when we were planning this, is to share our knowledge about supporting children and adolescents with experience of bullying. And now you will present yourself as well.
And I will add that the aim is also to discuss with you what is a good support in conversation and what is a good emotional support for children when they have experience of bullying. My name is Jurgita Smiltė Jasilionė. I am from Lithuania, from Childline, and I'm working as a psychologist and educator of volunteers that are providing emotional support for children. And also I have a counseling practice in one of family support centers of Lithuania.
And my name is Anna-Carin Wettefors, and I also work at Friends as an sakkunnig, and the humble translate world is expert, but I'm also an advisor with Åsa at our supporting team. And soon we will let you in, but first a little bit about Friends. I don't know how much you know about Friends, but we are an NGO organization who is founded by Sarah Damber. She was here yesterday. And we are a non-profit organization, and we are dedicated to prevent bullying. All kind of bullying in preschool, schools, kindergarten, and in sports clubs. And we also work with opinion forming. We want to take it to a higher level, so it's not only the school's problem. We want to talk to all the persons in Sweden who has power to change something. So we also work with that. So do you want to tell us about Childline?
Yes, of course. So Childline is the general helpline of Lithuania, and our main task, our main mission is to provide emotional support for children and adolescents under 18 years old. And we are providing free of charge, anonymous, confidential support. And as you see, children can get emotional support by telephone or by internet, by chatting with counselor, or by writing an email. And you can see some statistics of our organization. So in 2020, we answered more than 114,000 calls, more than 2,000 chats, and more than 500 emails. And the main topics that were mentioned during these calls or chats or emails was relationship with parents and friends, suicide, bullying, physical health, fear, and anxiety. And also we have a mission to be children's voice in a society, so we have some educational activities, and also we initiate in 2004 campaign Without Bullying, so we are working in the field of bullying prevention since 2004.
And
yes. And as you understood, both organizations, Friends and Childline or Vykulinė in Lithuanian, we have heard a lot of stories from children who have experienced bullying. And there are no children today, but we all feel that it's very important to make children's voices heard. So why we want to share, to begin our discussion, we want to share two stories from two girls, one living in Lithuania and another one living in Sweden. And these girls were contacting our organization for emotional support. So I will read. Hi, I am 14 years old and I have experienced bullying from 10 years of age. My parents know everything and they try to help me. But bullying doesn't stop. I've moved to another class, but children from my former class are still bullying me. They created fake profiles on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. They write nasty things about me. They cut my face from the photo and stick it into the body of the cow. It really hurts me. Can you help me?
I have wanted to write to you many times, but do not know if you can help me with this problem. I have since preschool been exposed to bullying, pushes, rejected and loneliness and much more that it's hard to address. I have all my school time been alone. I have no one. I have talked to teachers and school counselors several times, but they always say that I have to take the initiative and I have to dare to go ahead and talk to other students in my class. But I have kind of lost hope and I don't even know what to do anymore. And I don't even want to try anymore. I don't know what to do.
So these are two cases. These are two real persons who has contacted us at Friends and Childline in Lithuania. And this is a workshop. So now we have in mind that you can talk to each other. We want you to discuss in pair, or you can be 3 or 4 person. We will give you 5 minutes to talk about how to have a good conversation to a child. What would you do in order to have a good supportive conversation with a child? What should you do? And do you think the children and youth would have the same picture of what a good supportive conversation is? And we will leave you there, so you can just talk to each other, discuss to each other, and then we will open up. We will give you about 4 or 5 minutes, and then we will open up for you to share your thoughts and your reflections, and then we will move on and give you some conclusions from that. So let's start, discuss. Okay, 5 minutes is just swishing. I can hear you have talked a lot about these questions. So I wonder if someone wants to share with us what you have reflected about or talked about. And then we need to give you the microphone because we are filming this. Anyone? I did hear you talked. Or I just point at someone. Yes, good. Thank you.
Hi. We found out that the questions are hard to answer. It's no surprise. And we started with question 2 and said that the answer was probably no. At least we were afraid. But we hope that there is still a certain things of communication that all have the same idea from. So if you're talking to the child, or if the child has the chance to talk to you, that they have the chance to tell their story, so things that you're really empathetic, that you listen to them actively. We all know about that. What is good listening and good talking, I guess. And with question 1, we said it's probably different depending on which role you are. Are you a teacher? Are you a parent? Are you a counselor? Whatever. And if you have the chance to work further with that case, let me call it like that. And if you have that chance, then that's really what I want to share, because it's also my experience from working with teachers. Is firstly, it is really important to me that the bullied child is always informed about the next steps. So I think there needs to be transparency. And the second thing is, I think we should all try to give kind of power back to the bullied children. And that means to me, informing them, and also on the second point, giving them the chance to keep things in private. I think it's important to talk to the child and say, okay, this is that what happened to you is something that we need to talk about in class, for example. But there may be certain acts that happen to the child that are so intimidating and they are so hurtful and they shame so much for them, and this is nothing that we know, this is just something that the child can say, then that can be kept in privacy. I think that this is very important. And to the second question, I forgot about that, is we also said that it is important to, I forgot it.
It's okay.
To make clear that it's not the child's fault. But I think there was said yesterday in some session that it's a group phenomenon and that it's, it gets to your privacy, of course, and it takes a self-confidence. We kind of try to give that back. It's not that easy, but to give it back by saying, it is nothing you have done, it's nothing that is about you, it's nothing that you can change so easily. It's nothing about you, it's just something that happened to you.
Thank you. I don't know if we said it before, but for us at Friends and also Childline, we only talk to children in phones or emails. We never meet the children. So it's different when a teacher meets, and it's good to lift that. Is it anyone else who wants to share something? You will have the time also to do questions, but I think you was going to raise your hand, and I saw it. We need to give you, or do you want to say something? Okay.
But of course, I think that it was a really challenging questions, especially because we were talking about one thing is, of course, having a supportive communication that the basis, independent of the role, is, in our opinion, is able to be empathic, to listen actively to the children and to provide them the opportunity to be listened, because sometimes adults also minimize what is happening, or they just are not asking questions. But already providing an emotional contact with the child and providing this possibility is a good thing. We were also thinking about the difficulty of the different roles, because of course, as it was pointed out in the previous contribution, one thing is when you are the teacher and you have the possibility to act, to do something and to help the child and also working with the peers and so on. One thing is when you are on the other side of a telephone. So our thinking is that, of course, it's important to support emotionally the children, but also to provide them some information about resources, to give them some possibility to be listened by other people, maybe counselors, but also if there are figures, it depends on the nation, of course, but in the school, for instance, just provide some support to the children actively so that they are able also to be part of the solution somewhere, so to ask to the right persons, and because otherwise maybe listening can be not enough if we are not helping them to be active agent also.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on. So we have some quotes.
Yes, and we will encourage you to talk about what is a good supportive conversation from two perspectives. From an adult perspective, depending on our role, what is a good conversation, or what is good support for children, for child who have been bullied. And from other side, it's very important to always have in mind a child perspective. What is important for this child, what he's needed, what he's want to, or what is her or his expectation for this conversation. And so I want to share with you two quotes from children that contact the Childline, and after they they gave a feedback about how they felt during this conversation. So you can see one there. I will read this. The counselor told me she could not solve my problem, but I call a child line not to solve the problem. I just want to talk with someone about it because I feel so bad and lonely. And what is, I would say, what is also very important to have in mind that when we are supporting children, we are experiencing a lot of different feelings. And sometimes these feelings are very hard. We can feel sadness, we can feel hopelessness, we can feel anger because of the situation. And sometimes these feelings, they can motivate us to act more quickly or to jump to the solutions, but it's not always a right thing to do. And let's move to another quote. So it's another one. When I feel that the counselor is interested in me and understands my situation, it calms me down. So after this quote, we invite you just to short summarizing part to the last slide, where we can just mention some from our experience what is important, some general things that all of us need to know and do when we're supporting children, and also then we will act regarding our situation or what is our role in this contact with the child.
Yes, and as you mentioned with your reflection, listen, listen, listen. A few weeks back, I think he was around in the mid-20s, he contacted us and he was sharing his experience of being subjected to bullying during his primary year school years. And looking back at this time, he said that he wished that the teachers or adults around him would have listened to him, just listened. Because he said they didn't really listen to what I wanted to share. They were so jumping to take actions to solve things, and he just wanted to be able to share it with someone and just listen. And very often, at Friends anyway, we experience that when children have the courage to tell adults about their experience, we tend to minimize their experience, saying, well, the other one did not really meant to hurt you, or maybe you just misunderstood what was happening. So we tend to, not always, but quite often we hear anyway, we're not validating the feelings that the children are experiencing. So that's another thing that we think is very, very important to do every time.
Yes, and children and youth, they often doesn't see themselves as resources. They think they minimize themselves, and we need to encourage them, and we need to get to them so they can see themselves as a resource. And as Smilte showed, they don't want solutions. They just want someone to listen. Sometimes they want solution, and then we can give the solution, but often they only want us to listen.
And so the last 3 points is nothing very new. Yes, it's to use open questions, just by asking what happened, tell me more, or how does it make you feel. It's very important to very clearly understand what is the situation, what are the feelings that a child is feeling now. Sometimes in Childline, when we talk with volunteers, we are talking that, we must see the situation like a film to understand all participating people around, all the condition that is going to, if we want to help or to find a solution, if it's important for the child. And also, when we use open questions, we help a child to feel that they are leading the conversation. And when I have conversation with a child, I'm always thinking that it's not me, but the child is an expert of his own situation. So my job is just to create an atmosphere where the child will feel free to tell anything that he wants to say and anything that he finds important to say. And finally, when we finish the conversation, it's very important to reflect and summarize and to have some final questions, some like, it is all you wanted to tell me, or did we discuss everything that was important to you? And just to leave the door open for a child in case if you want to continue conversation or to contact us next time.
And now our time is end. But if you want to ask questions for us, we are here after the workshop. But thank you for being here and listening to us.